Good morning. Today for my science lesson, I'm going to be demonstrating the concept of water can change forms reversibly. And the overall science question is, how does changing water temperature change water? So right first thing in the morning, we are going to start with 2 equal parts of water in 2 of the same plastic dishes. We're going to let one transfer to the freezer for a few hours, and one we are going to let sit in this room at room temperature. And before we move them, we would like to ask all the kids, what do we think is going to happen when we move one into the freezer? Are they going to stay the same? Are they going to change? This kind of gives them time to brainstorm what could possibly happen during this time. But right now I'm going to go put one in the freezer. All right, so now luckily for this part of the science activity, we do have the benefit of having snow and ice outside. So we are going to fill up a simple plastic container with snow. I'll just kind of pack it in there a little bit. Let's see here. It comes almost to the top, and then we are going to take this inside now. All right, so now that we are back inside, we brought our snow in, and we're going to measure where it is, and it comes up to about this line, and I have snow written here. We are going to let this sit for a few hours, let it melt, and then we'll kind of hypothesize what could possibly happen. Do students think that the height will still be the same once we let it sit in room temperature for a little while? Or is it going to change? So this will be time for them to discuss and kind of figure out what they think is going to happen next. That being said, we are not going to mention the word melt to the students until this is completed so that they can come to the conclusion on their own. So we will just ask them, will it stay the same? Will it change? And when we come back to it is when we will start asking, did it melt? And things of that manner. All right, so now that we've waited a few hours, we can pull the container of water out of the freezer. Here it is, and we are going to place it in a pie dish. So I'm going to loosen this up and place it in the dish. And then students are going to be given the opportunity to observe this piece of ice that just came out of the freezer compared to the water in the same container that was left sitting at room temperature. They're going to be able to describe what they think this feels like with words like, is it hard? Is it cold? Is it slippery? Smooth? What shape is it in? Is it in the shape of the container it just came out of? Why? Why isn't it the same as the container that had been sitting at room temperature all day? So they're going to be allowed to feel this and start kind of making their comparisons. So once the ice has been compared to this room temperature water, we're going to be asking questions like, is this water soft? Is it warm? Is it moving? Is it fluid? Is there a shape to it? If I were to pour it out, would the shape change? Is it clear? So we'll ask questions like that, and then we will let the ice that just came out of the freezer sit for a while, and students can make predictions of what will happen within about an hour of it sitting at room temperature. So we then allowed time to let the ice in the pie dish sit for a while, about an hour, and before we reveal it back to the students, we'll ask them questions of, do you think that it will change shape after this hour of sitting at room temperature? Have them make some guesses, and then we'll bring the pie dish back. And as you can see, it has melted. And this, they will be able to create a discussion for why they believe that the ice has melted and is now in a completely liquid form, no longer holding its original shape. And from there, we can start to make predictions of why this has happened. And now that we've let the snow that we brought in from outside sit for a while, we are going to look back at it. And this is the same container that the snow was in. The snow was originally up to this line, and now as you can see, it's to here. We're going to ask the students, is it as deep as it was originally? Why do they think it is not as deep now?